Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Edwin back with Strictly Comics, and I got some comic book reviews for you guys today. Doing things a little bit differently. I'm going to be winging it because, as you guys know, I got a new job, thank God, and I've been working quite a bit. As a matter of fact, this weekend has been a lot of R&R, kind of a little bit of recovery because I got some muscles I haven't been using quite a while. Anyways, I'm going to get right into it. Justice League Dark, number 23. This is part 5 of 6 with Trinity War. This is a really good book, you guys. It is written by Jeff Lemire and artist Mikel Janin. Hope I said that right. And what we have here is we find out that the whole issue with Wonder Woman right now, having the Pandora's box, she was kind of possessed by it a little bit. This was actually a really good issue, you guys, and I'm going to explain why. Everybody kind of had their hands on this box throughout the issue. So we saw these transformations with Shazam. We saw these transformations with Wonder Woman. We even saw John Constantine had the box, but he didn't go through any of the changes like the other people did. And as a matter of fact, 2 others of his Justice League Dark members held the box as well, and they didn't really go through any of the transformations that the other DC heroes did. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't really understand why. I was thinking maybe it was because, well, actually he kind of explains it in this issue a little bit. People were kind of like wondering like why John Constantine didn't really go through any changes. He says, "It won't corrupt me. You can't soil a pot that's already filthy." So I thought that was kind of funny. He already pretty much knew he was a dirty individual, so they can't really corrupt him anymore. But that didn't really make sense to me because we all know that Vandal Savage was pretty corrupt, and we all know that, Lex Luthor didn't grab it, but, Vandal Savage is pretty corrupt, but yet it just did something to him. It altered him in a way. But this was a really good issue. We see what appeared to be Shazam kind of go to Black Adam, kinda. I don't really know, because it looks as if Black Adam was the result of what happened, grabbing a hold of Pandora's box. Everybody is just fighting with each other. It's to this point, it's just kind of a mess. And people really need to kind of clean it up, but you kind of can't. Toward the end of the book, and I know that I don't do spoilers or anything like that, but I'm so late getting out with my reviews, I can almost assume that everybody's already read this already. At the end, we get that, I don't know who this guy is, but we see that it is actually a doorway. A doorway to what? We don't know. So apparently the Pandora's box is opening up a doorway into Earth. So, yeah, that is going to be interesting to see how all that turns out, because everybody wants to see who comes through that doorway. Like I said, the issue was good. I thought the artwork was pretty good. A lot of really, really nice splash pages. The artwork just absolutely amazing. And I would have to say that I give this issue a good 4.5 out of 5. It wasn't perfect, and this is one of the reasons why. You're already on part 5 of 6. So everybody always wants to know what's going to happen at the end, but yet it doesn't appear as if we're close to any kind of conclusion to this story arc. So when you're already on 5 of 6, then what does that mean when part 6 comes around? You're just going to rush it to create some kind of ending? It's not a Tyler Perry movie, so you don't want to do anything like that. You want to kind of have some kind of ending, and I just don't like these rushed endings. I agree with Comic Book Corner 2.0 when the whole What If A versus X came out, and it was a 4-issue miniseries, and that it was just build up, and then that 4th issue was just rushed, and it was just a really, really crappy ending. So I give it a 4.5 out of 5 with that little tiny nitpick of mine, which isn't really a big issue. Let me know what you guys think. I have Trinity of Sin, Pandora number 3. This is the Trinity War tie-in. I was actually told to read this first before I read Justice League Dark number 23, but when I was like halfway through it, I was like, you know what? he must have got his books mixed up, the guy at the comic book shop, because I really should have read Justice League Dark 23 before I read this one. And so I had to kind of stop in the middle of it and then read Justice League Dark 23. And I was glad that I did, because I saw how this issue was more of a tie-in to what's going on in the Trinity War. It was a good issue. I liked how we saw the spirits influencing all of the Justice League teams, kind of unknowingly, obviously, because if they were able to see what was going on, their actions would have been differently, I'm sure. We see Pandora. She's just kind of lost, don't really know what to do. She's probably sick and tired of these spirits having their way with everybody. But yet we get some backstory of her trying to get enlightenment and receive wisdom from older, wiser individuals of different countries and cultures, religions, stuff like that. She just thirsts for knowledge because her desire is so great to defeat these spirits that she's just willing to travel the earth many times over until she is able to correct the wrong that she blames herself for creating. One of the things I really didn't like about this book was the way she went about harming or defeating one of the spirits. She says that she understood from one of her teachers that we saw at the beginning of the issue, and she said that she has to see herself in them. Don't really know what that means. Maybe it's kind of like, I have to become kind of like you in order to beat you. I don't really know. So the same handgun that she had been using trying to defeat these spirits were having no effect, and all of a sudden when she gets some kind of revelation or enlightenment, those same weapons are able to defeat the spirits. So didn't really like that so much. I thought it was kind of a cop-out a little bit. I thought it was going to be something a little bit more deeper. So that was one of kind of a major complaint in my opinion with this issue. I thought it was a really good tie-in story though, because almost every page had everything to do with Trinity War, instead of like the Batman Annual #2 that we saw when it said a 0-year tie-in, and we only had like one page that had to do with 0 year. So this definitely played a much bigger role as a tie-in. But it was kind of, because of that, it was kind of boring a little bit. I mean, I like the fact that she was able to harm and kill one of the spirits, but it was just how she went about doing it. They were confused once they saw one of them go down. I can't remember which one it is. I think it was Pride that she got rid of. And then after she got rid of the spirit, she's like, you see the smirk on her face. She's like, who's next? Like she figured it out. So it was a good tie-in, but I'm only going to give it like a 3.5 out of 5. It wasn't like, the story really didn't progress tremendously, in my opinion. And I just have a feeling, like I said in the last review, that the ending is probably going to be rushed. I don't know. But, you know what? Now that I think about it, excuse me, from what I heard from a guy at my comic book shop who's very heavily involved, very knowledgeable with what's going on, he explained how Trinity War is actually the beginning of something major that's going to happen in the DC universe. Another guy said it had a lot to do with Wonder Woman, so only time will tell. And as we see from my very first review that I did of Trinity War, I didn't know for sure whether this was going to happen or not, but I could see the possibility of Shazam being the only one to close the box, because he's really a 12-year-old boy in a man's body, so he didn't have that knowledge of accountability yet because he was so young. He hadn't really reached that age yet to where he could be held accountable for his actions. But we saw that plan kind of just went out the window because Shazam got a hold of the box and he became what looks like Black Adam. So scratch that. I don't know where this book is going anymore now, but I will continue to pick it up because I think it's a very good story arc. I want to say you guys pick it up. Like I said, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, up next, you guys, I got Avengers number 18, which is a Infinity tie-in story. Oh, okay. After the first issue of Infinity, I was like, I had to read it twice. I kind of got it. I was like, it's kind of deep. I liked it. I like these philosophical, very thought-provoking type of reads sometimes. It kind of reminds me of when I watched Watchmen in theater. It was, a lot of people didn't like it. I really didn't know much about Watchmen until I watched that movie. And when I saw it, it was a philosophical type of story. I liked it a lot. It just kind of takes your mind outside the box, so to speak. Infinity, the first issue did that for me, but this issue, you can't. It was written by Jonathan Hickman, and the art is done by Leinil Francis Yu. It was, I don't know, man. You can't expect everybody to read your stories to know everything that's going on in Marvel Comics. There's so many titles. There is so much going on, and Marvel wants to try to blend all of them together in a way, and I don't know why. I think you need to simplify things a little bit more, especially if you want more readers. You have all these deep, complex stories, these characters that nobody knows really anything about unless you've been a reader for at least over the past 2 to 5 years. And I was just kind of in that situation a little bit. I just was kind of lost with who these characters were, what was really going on. And I know since the Avengers movie came out, was it last year or the year before, now they got like 20 more Avengers titles because they're just trying to take advantage of the huge hit that movie was and just hope that all kinds of kids and new readers get on board. So I just think that Hickman needs to simplify things. I think that Marvel needs to simplify things a little bit. I was kind of lost. I did kind of like it a little bit. What we get here is the all-out attack by, well, not all-out, but an attack by the Avengers. Because as we found out in issue number 1, they wanted to bring the playing field to them instead of waiting for them to bring the fight to their neck of the woods. The artwork was absolutely beautiful. I loved the artwork. It was very, very well done in my opinion. I loved the detail. It seemed like the artist spent quite a bit of time on this issue, and I just think it's very, very good. I hope that the story gets much better, at least in a way that people can understand. It's not even part 2. This is just a tie-in story, so I think that, well, the story was probably written last year, so there's not really any changes that can be done on it now. But in the issue, we see that the Avengers go for an attack, and their initial form of the attack was to split the fleet so that they weren't strongest as a whole. And they were fooled into thinking that they were able to do that, but they were not. The enemy had ships that were actually kind of in a cloaking mode, so they couldn't really see it. And then when they revealed themselves, they just kind of brought on the pain, brought on the rain, and just all kinds of fire toward the Avengers. And it really just destroyed and killed a lot of people and really just spoiled their attempts and their strategy on what they initially wanted to do. And then we see a big explosion, and see, this is another thing that I was just kind of lost at, like, who did the explosion? What was the explosion? Where did it come from? I don't really understand. All of a sudden we just see this big explosion, and it kind of reminds me of Star Wars a little bit, and at the same time, so I don't know. It was okay. The artwork was definitely the upside of the issue. Plus, another thing that I really didn't like about the issue, DC has not been shy with doing more than 22 pages when it comes to this story arc. This issue, it's still a 20-page issue. It's just 20 pages. And I'm like, you have this big event that you want everybody to pay attention to, and you know DC is a competitor. They're not somebody that's just going to go away. You're not like overshadowing them totally and completely to where they're shriveling up and dying. No, they're well in the race of trying to get people to purchase their books, and I think they're doing a very good job. I just thought that it could have been a little bit more, and that was a big complaint for me. So to me, I consider this maybe an average issue at best. I think that giving it a 3 out of 5 is probably nice. That's my review. That's my opinion, you guys. I'm pretty sure there's many of you guys out there that are well aware of what's going on, but me, not so much. All right, up next, you guys, I got Batman and Robin number 23, but they kind of did away with the Robin, and now what we have is Batman and Nightwing number 23. The title is actually called Second Chances. Now, we also see Robin's foot there on the cover, and it's not Robin. As we read this issue, what we find out is that Batman is going through like this simulator, trying to reenact the events of what happened when Damian was killed, because he wants to see if there was a way that he could have stopped it. As we read, he goes through almost 450 attempts. He's been up for about 4 days straight with no sleep, trying to figure out a way to, if there was a way that he could have stopped it. And every single attempt, he's failed. It was a very moving issue. I liked it quite a bit. Didn't really see this coming in this type of comic book. Robin actually shows up, who is the, forgive me you guys, I guess he's the Red Robin or the original Nightwing or something. I don't know, I can't remember. He actually shows up because Alfred calls him. He wants him to kind of put an end to what Bruce is doing. He wants him to get some sleep. He's obviously concerned about his health and his well-being, which I don't know why, because he puts himself in danger all the time. And you've done this before, Alfred, so you should know that he's pretty determined and he's not going to stop until he's satisfied with whatever it is that he's trying to do. But it wasn't until Robin helped him in the simulator that he was able to have victory and see a different outcome and Robin not dying. And it was really good. Another thing that I thought, this is what really moved me when I read this issue. Bruce was satisfied, even though he couldn't do it on his own. Robin had to help him. He was satisfied and he left. I guess he was just turning in for the day, for the night or whatever. Alfred is there at the simulator, and he wants to try and see if there was anything that he could have done. What he ends up doing when he goes and puts himself in the simulator was he actually stops Damian before he even leaves the Batcave. And he does it by pricking him with some kind of sleeping drug, which knocks him out for like 10 hours. When he does that, of course, the result of his simulation is that he was successful. Alfred is aware of this. He takes off the glasses of the simulator and he's just bawling, crying, because he knows that he himself could have played a role in preventing Damian from dying. And it just breaks his heart. And it was a very moving issue. This was a very good issue, you guys. As a matter of fact, it was so good, I have to say that I give it a 4.5 out of 5. Now, you might be asking, well, Edwin, why didn't you give it a perfect 5 out of 5? And the reason is because it was only 20 pages. And I'm seeing the comic book industry go from 22 pages to giving you less of what you pay for. It's all about money. I've heard issues of it being time for the writers and the artists. That's bullcrap. If you didn't have a writer doing 5 issues and just doing a couple of issues like they did back in the day, he wouldn't need all this time to meet these deadlines. But I give it a 4.5 out of 5. Let me know what you guys think. Alright, you guys, last comic book review of the week. And what do I have? I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Villains number 5. And it's actually an issue solely dedicated to Karai. I just finished reading this book, and I must say this was a great book. Also, if you are reading City Fall right now in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book, this is actually kind of a tie-in, but they don't let you know on the cover, so you have to kind of get it and read it to figure out how it ties in. And let me explain. What happens here is, as we know, it's solely devoted to the history, backstories of the villains that the issue's about, and we see an origin story of Karai and how she was growing up. Her father is the son of Orokosaki the Shredder, and he isn't as concerned or passionate with the Foot Clan as the Shredder is, or really as he should be. He's more into the money side of the whole organization, and he is just out for it kind of selfishly for his own selfish purposes and financial gain of what he can get out of it. He even compromises and kind of sells out a little bit for the love of the amount of money that he's able to get from it. And Karai takes notice of this, but only first after studying for years about the history of the foot, because she discovers her dad's book, which tells the history of the foot, how her roots kind of play into it, and also with the fighting techniques and the fighting style of the foot, which are word and pictured instructions in the pages of the book. It's a very old book. It was passed along through many generations throughout the Foot Clan, and her father kind of had it purposely out of her reach, but she ends up finding it in the library because, as we know, her dad is kind of losing the passion and is focused more on money, so there is no longer a concern about who sees the book so much anymore. She finds it, she reads it, she studies it, she just kind of embraces it as if it was her Bible or something. And that is kind of where we see the beginning stages of her taking on her identity as a Foot Clan member, and also as a generational member of the Foot Clan through the bloodline of her family. She embraces it, she studies, she improves. She isn't taught by anybody. She kind of teaches herself by reading and studying through the book. And she sees that she needs to uphold the honor of the Foot Clan, everything that it was, everything that it is, and everything that it's supposed to be. And she takes it upon herself to correct the wrong and the mistakes that her father did by dishonoring and kind of diminishing the values of the Foot Clan. This issue blew me away because what she does to uphold her honor and her passion of the Foot Clan, she kills her own dad. Yes, she takes out her own dad, which just blew me away. I was like, wow, that's what you do? Like, talk about taking things like this to the extreme. She took out her own dad, and yeah, but all the while this is going on, she's seeking an old trainer, an old master of the Foot Clan who he trains the new members of the Foot, and then he gives them off to the Shredder so that he can use at his disposal. She was trained and taught by him a little bit in her youth. During this whole time that she's there, she's talking to him because she doesn't really know what to do. She sees that the control of the Foot Clan is getting more and more out of her grasp than it was before. And she also is the one who was responsible for resurrecting the Shredder because she had such a passion for the Foot Clan. But her main issue is that she is no longer number 2. She is now number 3 or less. Because, as I said, there's actually a tie-in with City Fall. What we see here is we see Leonardo show up in his foot gear. Leonardo is now number 2. He sees her as expendable, and she is no longer what she thinks she is or what she used to be. And Leonardo has all the say-so of what goes on next to the Shredder. So I found this to be very interesting. Leonardo provokes her. He's like, do you want to challenge me? Go ahead and do it. She takes him up on his offer, and she does. She challenges him, and she also notices some things about him while she is fighting him. He's a little bit slower, but yet at the same time he could have killed her, but he didn't, and she thinks that that's going to be his mistake. He should have killed her when he had the chance, and because he didn't, she seeks out her revenge not only on the Leonardo, but on getting her place back, probably within the Foot Clan, or if not something better. It was a good issue, you guys. The artwork wasn't the greatest, but it did a good job of telling the story. The writer This story, this comic book is written by Erik Burnham, and the art is by Cory Smith. Erik Burnham, in my opinion, is doing a very, very good job writing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Although I think somebody else is on board, but I can't remember at the time. At the end of the book, she gets her answer of what she seeks the older master for, and she starts another beginning process of starting her own clan, or at least getting her own followers to help her in accomplishing what it is that she's trying to do. It's a really good issue, you guys. If you are very much into City Fall or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I definitely highly recommend this issue. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. And I say it's not perfect, probably because, just because of the artwork, it did a good job of telling the story, but it wasn't the greatest. So that's pretty much why I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. So it was near perfect. Definitely pick it up. Let me know what you guys think. All right, that's it, you guys. I did my reviews. I'm sorry they're late, but you know what? I thought about it. I was like, everybody's in a rush to get the reviews done on, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, but I don't see a lot being posted on the weekend. And especially Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, pretty much dead. Even comic book stores are closed like Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday because they're so slow in business. So I was like, maybe this is a good opportunity for me to post my reviews on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. At least you guys can get my thoughts about it. And I know pretty much everybody out there now is like, oh, I already seen the reviews. I already have my mind made up on what I want to read, what I want to buy, what I don't want to. Entertainment value, entertainment-wise, I hope you guys appreciate these. I try to get my reviews out as much as possible. I enjoy doing this, and I want to thank all of my subscribers out there right now who enjoy watching my reviews, my videos. Thank you so much. It really is you guys that kind of makes this worthwhile and why I really appreciate doing this. Thank you so much. As always, you guys, keep God number one in your life. Enjoy your comic books, though, and God bless you guys. I'm out of here.